One thing you touched on was El Salvador, and you guys have been very active there and kind of have, had your boots on the ground there. So I would love to just dive into, moving on from any price related things, talking about what's going on there. What have been some of the firsthand things that you've noticed and positive impacts of Bitcoin on the community there that you've seen?
Well, you don't change Bitcoin, Bitcoin changes you. And the whole country is being transformed by Bitcoin and the ethos of Bitcoin and the aesthetic beauty of Bitcoin, the practicality of Bitcoin. The people on the ground are happy with this. They like the idea of having unconfiscatable wealth. And people will come up to me all the time and say, Max, I have $50 in Bitcoin. And it's the first time in their lives they've had unconfiscatable savings, unconfiscatable wealth, and they're building on it. They're adding to it, and they're happy about it, and it gives you a sense of agency, a sense of pride. They know that their president has been instrumental and part of this whole revolution. And on the sovereign level, of course, the country is squaring off against the IMF and other world organizations, which is, I think, being applauded by everybody who sees the threat of these supranational world organizations being overreaching. And that's becoming a greater problem on a daily basis. And they see what El Salvador is doing, and they applaud it. And now that is spreading into the region and around the world. And also, it's amazing that adjusted for the tourism dollar and the foreign direct investment money that's coming into El Salvador, the current Bitcoin position of the country, which is is under what they paid for it. Um, it's still, if you adjust for the tourism and everything else, it's basically it's still a huge winner for them. Even though they're on paper, they don't have any paper gains at the moment. It's still a huge winner economically speaking. The GDP is over 10% for the year. It looks like it's going to bust 15-20% next year, and that's pretty much due to Bitcoin.
Right. And, look at look at the story of El Salvador. The story for hundreds of years is of occupation, imperialism, slaughter of the indigenous people, neoliberalism, economic hitmen, uh, mass homicides, the gang wars, civil war, all of that stuff. The story has changed overnight like that. And when you go there and you talk to the people who are born and raised and their families have lived there for generation, they're like shell shocked. They're looking around like, who are all you people coming here? I can't believe this is, people are coming here. We have fled. We have left for my parents, my grandparents, my uncles, my aunts, my cousins. Everybody seeks to flee to America, to somewhere else, because that is the only opportunity. And now that is changing. And I believe that's similar to what happened to Florence in the Renaissance, the first Renaissance. I believe you'll see a Renaissance 2.0 in El Salvador. Who knows what form that will take, because at that, back in the Renaissance, you're coming out of a dark ages, and I think we're coming out of a dark ages now, a dark ages of fiat. And back then, the hard money that was the florin, the most perfect of the gold standards at that time, that drew in more trade. More trade brought in more, wealth to Florence, which brought in people who wanted more freedom. So they were the freest people of all of the city states in what is now modern day Italy, which drew in the artists, which drew in the cycle was just kept on feeding on itself until this greatness that we still talk about today. And I think you'll have the same thing with El Salvador. One of the things that I've been doing there for the last few months is trying to do what I can to make sure that, until this is like totally embedded and Bitcoin is embedded, and the president himself is definitely like complete Bitcoin maximalist, totally orange pilled. But as you know, all the shitcoiners have billions of dollars that they can print, and they go there and they try to find an avenue to corrupt. Now, there's a lot of Latin Americans. There are many Latin Americans there who are drawn there. Many Venezuelans. We were talking to a Venezuelan friend there who said, like, when hyperinflation first hit under Maduro, what they saw in Venezuela was the arrival of every shitcoin. So there was no just like, it was Bitcoin and all the shitcoins, and every person was met with this avalanche of shit because the shit was free. You know, Bitcoin, you have to work for it. It's harder to get. So all these people were given free shit, but the shit all collapsed since then. So they're all like, they connect that to Bitcoin. So trying to avoid that sort of situation where people get conned or confused by the shitcoins that are always, you know, they always present themselves as a new Bitcoin, or that, you know, that's a classic con, right? You go for the best. You pretend you're gold, you know, when you had fool's gold. And the same thing with these shitcoins. So that's what I've been doing there, and I think it's worked quite well. And you know, that's why we're ready after what, 7-8 months of just living there most of the time. Right now we're in North Carolina, but most of the time we spend down there, and that's why we've started investing with El Zonte Capital. Like, I think it's ready. There's a lot of good stuff about to happen with the new laws that the president is introducing, and the volcano bond, which will be coming forward soon. So I think you know, you're going to see the next boom up there very soon.